NTInet control, now featuring episode 40. I'm going to reach up here and change the presenter to Jason Mangos. And Jason, you're on, young man. Thank you for listening to me, and have a great night, and I'll be monitoring the questions.
All right. He's going to be sneaking more beer is what he's going to be doing. Don't let him fool you. All right. See my screen?
Yes, we do. We see beers with wrenches and bottles and wine glasses and scotch glasses.
All right. All right. So everybody has their drink for the night, their choice. And Ted, you know, Steve was going over the beer review. He didn't even say what you're having. What are you having, Teddy? No.
Ted's typing away feverishly at something. I'm not quite sure what.
I'm just answering questions.
What do you have for your drink of choice tonight? Frozen again? I can't see him.
He's not frozen at my screen, so I can't answer that.
Okay, but I'm having a little Tito's vodka and green tea, but that's my drink choice. But let's get started tonight, everybody. So tonight we're going to talk about setting the heat curve for your peak efficiency on an NTI with the NTInet control. Now that NTInet control is used on all of our boilers from the TRX 85 through 150C and 85 through TRX 85 through 199. So the models all use a TRX NTInet control on the TRX, on the FTVN. We also use the NTInet control on the FTVN and also on the new TFTN coming out later this year, coming out with the upgraded and robust NTInet control. So let's take a look at this. Now, keep in mind, this control comes with onboard Wi-Fi. Please reference to the manual, because keep in mind, you may be working on a TRX 85 through 199, or you may be working on an FTVN, or you may be even working on an older TX model. So every parameters are going to be different. Even the control platforms would be different if you're working on a TX versus TRX. So the NTInet control can be programmed to fit a number of units. So if you say, for instance, you have a TRX 110C, you can take a board from your parts kit. You can put that in a TRX 110C. You can also take the same board and put it in FTVN 110C. So the board's interchangeable across the board. So it's a really nice control, and it has some really great features. And that's what we're going to outline today and go through, how to understand the different parameters and how to set those different parameters and to understand what those parameters do for the system. So how many of you guys and gals use the online document or have attended one of our training classes, or possibly have reached out to myself, Ted, or Steve, and we emailed you this document? Also, our tech support staff will email this document out to you. The one on the left-hand side there at the top is what we call our quick startup guide for the TRX and FTVN units. And then what we'll do is in the future, we'll upgrade that to apply to also reference to the TFTN, so which would add to that sheet. But how many of you guys and gals have used the little sticker right on the front of the display on the FTVNs and all the heat-only models and combi models?
Isn't this a poll question?
Well, so just reference to that sticker. It's also going to help you to navigate through with the technical guide. All right. Now watch the poll question.
Okay.
God, you ruined my surprise.
There's the poll question. Go ahead, Ted.
How many of you use the NTI document or sticker located on the front panel for navigating through the parameters of the NTInet? It does sound suspiciously like the question Jason just asked.
I had to put it somewhere.
Select one of the following. Don't know anything about it? Where can I get it? All the time? Or sometimes I'm really savvy with the control now. Or sometimes, comma, I'm really savvy with the control. But I'm not really
so how many answered that? Where can they get it?
Well, you just have to wait, dude.
Well, it should be like fast lightning.
People are still answering. I mean, come on. It's only 40 seconds into this thing. For God's sake.
I got to get the Jets going. Hold on.
So far, we got 71% have voted. We'll give them about 10 more seconds. Come on, folks, answer these questions.
No, I like the last poll question. It's going to be funny.
Didn't know about it. Where can I get it? All the time, or sometimes I'm really savvy.
Until I mess it up.
All right, that's enough time.
All right. Where can they get it?
35% didn't know anything about it at all. Where can they get it?
38 now, Ted. 39 now, Ted.
It's changed. They're changing their answers on the fly.
So for
39 didn't know about it. 39 all the time. And 21% are sometimes really savvy.
Okay, so for those the percentage that didn't know where to find it, you can find it. It's attached to this webinar. It's a downloadable document. You should have received it. So it is in this presentation, this webinar, so you can download the document. All right, we're gonna keep moving. There's also some really great features in this boiler. Also, you can see the high efficiency operation. That's our target for today's presentation. We want to kind of stay within this high efficiency operation where we can provide low return temperatures back to the boiler, allowing the boiler to condense. We're also going to talk about looking at how when we look into Wi-Fi, when we're hooked up to the Wi-Fi, you can see some of the same settings that you'll see for both 420, 425, and 426 and 475, both in the computer screen. All right, so domestic hot water settings can all be adjusted on the left-hand side of the display. You can advance up and down with the plus or minus key. So it's very simple to set the domestic setting on this control. Everything is going to happen for the domestic on the left-hand side. Keep in mind, moving forward as we go through how to access the technical menu and how to also get into parameter 420, 425, and 426. We're going to access the technical access point, which at that point, we're going to be on the right-hand side of the screen where all the action is going to happen.
What does 420, 425, and 426 do?
They're going to set your parameter curves. We will talk about that later in the presentation, sir.
I'd just like to know what they're for, that's all.
Okay, well, I can tell you 420.
Somebody on this call wonders what the hell they even mean.
Kind of what I was trying to hem at there, Ted.
Well, 420 is going to be your set point. So 420 parameter, which we'll review today, will be your set point. You have two options there. Your first option is 0 for low temperature. Your second option is high temperature. So we're going to go over how to set 420 and what the temperature options are in 420. We're also going to go over 425, which is your high end of the curve, and how to set that curve to peak efficiency for your system.
What's a curve?
Well, we're going to talk about the outdoor reset curve, which is
outdoor reset curve. Okay, good, thanks.
Yes. So you can just we'll get it. We'll cover that. But there's one thing I want everybody to know about this control, which is a really nice feature. And I've heard Steve and I and Teddy and I and a lot of the guys use this feature is the long press option, because it can tell you what's going on. So in the menu option, you can use a long press option, and the long press option can tell you what your outlet temperature is and tell you what your flue temperature is. So if you guys and gals are out there and doing a preventive maintenance, you can basically look and see how dirty the boiler is just by referencing to your supply temperature and your flue gas temperature.
Hey, Jason.
The way it's displayed on the screen. Yes, sir.
So question for you. The reset button, to reset it, what do you do?
Just tap.
Is that long press?
Don't long press the reset button, because you'll go into test mode. What you guys and gals want to do is just tap the reset button, and what you'll see, and you'll know when you got it out of reset, because you'll see this OK will be displayed on the screen, and that's telling you to hit OK to confirm that you've reset the lockout. So once you see the lockout has been reset, don't hold it in for more than 3 seconds, because if you do, you will force the boiler into what we call our test mode. Now, long press is only accessible to the menu button. So to hold the menu button, now keep in mind, the menu button has other options. That's where you set your internet, which where you activate the Wi-Fi so it can get the handhold with our server. So there's a lot of features in the menu button. The history button will give you things like what version of the PC you have, error history, like what errors did you have. And you can also access the same stuff that we're going to go over today through the computer screen. So keep in mind, long press is a really nice tool. All right. Poll question number 2. Hit it.
Coming right up. I'm trying to do this as fast as you do.
Set.
Well, see, are you answering questions? It's hard. You got to close one screen to get to another one.
How many of you are using some of the incredible troubleshooting features built into the NTInet control? All right. Well, we have some choices here. Select one of the following. Do you use the long press, all Wi-Fi, or not much? How many are using these features? Long press, Wi-Fi, or not much?
Where's
See,
the fourth answer?
I know there ain't no fourth answer. I should have put one something. I
There's-
make it. Can't you make it like multiple choice? Like, you know, yes or no? Let's try to look at that on there.
So far we have 69% voted. Please, folks, get your votes in right now. 69% of you have voted, and we have 20 seconds to go.
The last one's going to be good. The last poll question would be nice.
We're at 71%. Let's try to get that to 80. Come on, folks, respond.
You can do it. You can do it.
Kevin Gerard says not much because there's very little problems with your boilers. I love you, Kevin Gerard.
It's my favorite. He's got to take you to this restaurant. Oh my God, Teddy, you know what I'm talking about. Oh,
Yeah, the corner diner.
dude, that lady is off the hook. She's off the snezzle-kizzle. She had
All right.
almost fell off my
All
chair.
right. We ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
19% use the long press, 16% use the Wi-Fi, and 66% say not much, which I guess means they're not using the control much at all.
You know what? That could be because they're doing it through the computer. Could have that. Could have you know, somebody who's got the contractor, you know, access that they're accessing it remotely. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I do. Or I can just walk you through it. We're gonna do that right now. All right. Yeah, that poll question. We're all good.
Yeah.
You're on, brother. You're on.
All right. So real important that when we access the technical menu, we keep in mind everything for domestic happened on the left-hand side. Now we're going to what we call the technical access point, which is indicated by a wrench. You can see on the bottom here, there's a wrench here, and there's outlining both the OK and escape button. And that's indicating that that's a technical access point. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold those two buttons in for approximately 10 seconds. You're going to see, now keep in mind, you're going to have to press it hardly. Don't just, you know, little lightly tap it. Push in and depress the buttons evenly at the same time. You'll see 222 will be displayed on the screen. Now, here's what I want you to do. Over here on the right-hand side, we're going to use this plus key right here. This plus key, we're going to advance up to 234. Okay, once we get to 234, all we're going to do is just hit the OK button. Now, very easy to get into the parameters at this point. Now, you can go through the menu option, which if you go through the menu option, you go through each step. But it's very simple. All you want to do is hit the OK button. Once you hit the OK button, you'll see a number will be displayed on the screen. Now, the handout that's attached in this webinar is the same process that we're doing here. It walks you through how to get into these parameters. So we're going to look at some of the very important parameters. First one we're going to look at is going to be 228. Okay, so we're going to use this plus key on the right hand side there. We're going to scroll up until we change that first number to a 2. Then we're going to hit the OK button. And we're going to continue to use this plus key on the right hand side there. We're going to make the second number a 2 and we're going to hit OK. We're going to make the third number an 8 and we're going to hit OK. Once we do that, we're going to be into where we can set the what type of system we have. Now, let's say we have an indirect. So we want to enable the indirect. So we bought an S20 tank, or we have one of our you know, storage tanks that you bought from the wholesaler. Now you got the tank sensor. Now you want to hook up the tank sensor. So all you're going to do is go into parameter 228, and when you hit that OK button, you're going to see an option. It's going to say 1 or 2. 1 would be for a sensor, okay? 2 would be for an aquastat. So if you have a 1, it would be a sensor. So if we just bought an S20 tank, we got to mount it on the wall. We run the sensor back to our sensor leads, which is going to be marked on the control. You'll see it on the control. It is a red terminal. So you can see that right there. It's a red terminal, and that's for the tank sensor. And
Could you hold that up again so I can see it better?
Yeah, can you see?
Hold it closer so we can see the red. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
See that? All right. So you have both options 1 and 2. 2 is for the aquastat. Now, whatever aquastat you get with your water heater, if you're using our indirect or if you're using another indirect, this boiler can work with any indirect. So if you have an existing indirect, you can adapt this to it. So it would be a retrofit. All right. Now, once we're done there, we want to just hit our options. Now, we want to hit escape. We want to go back to the first number. So remember, the first number will be a 0. We want to scroll up with the plus key and make that first number a 4. Now, we're going to hit OK at this point. Once we hit OK, we're going to make the second number a 2 and hit OK. We're going to make the third number a 0 and hit OK. Now, we're in 420. 420 is our option for both low temperature or high temperature. Option 0 will be for low temperature. And
for heating?
For heating, yes, sir.
Okay. This has nothing to do with your curve, right?
This not yet. Not yet. We'll get to that. But this is the set point for the 420 parameter. Now, keep in mind, there's also a T2. A T2 will be 520 parameter. So every number we're going over here will be your second. If you have a second T2, which is on here, you have T1 and T2. So your T2, which is right here, would be, 520, 526, 525, 526. So it'd be your parameters. We're going to go over those. Okay, so 420 is our set point. Now, what we want to do is decide what type of application we have. Do we have cast iron rads, like in my house, 150 is my maximum temperature. Or maybe we have a high mass radiant system and with a little bit of snow melt, maybe have a little bit of sidewalk that has some, snow melt in it. Well, that's a low temperature system. So that would be option 0. So option 0 is for the low temperature option. So all we're going to do is select that option and hit OK. So you use the plus key or minus key on the right-hand side to choose your option, either 0 or 1. Once you do that, hit the OK button. Now, if we decide to go to high temperature, we're going to scroll up using the plus key, and we're going to go to option number 1. And every boiler comes preset for option number 1 from the factory. So very important that if you do work with a low temperature system, that you go into 420 and set these parameters, because you're going to have to tell it, listen, I have a low temperature system, because what it's going to do is it's going to change the curve. We're going to talk about the outdoor reset curve. Each boiler comes at a preset 1.3 curve. And when you go into a low temperature curve, it shifts the curve downwards. And I'm going to show you that in the next couple slides.
But Jason, is
Yes,
this
sir.
where you set the domestic hot water limitations for an indirect water heater?
No.
Okay.
This is
Just
only
the prior slide. The prior slide said domestic hot water production. No, next one.
Yeah, I could take that out as a copy. No.
Okay, just wondering. Just making sure.
No, if you were paying attention, 228 sets that parameter for the indirect tank.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's that. So what we want to do is we want to go back, guys. Now I don't want you to go all the way back. All we got to do is hit the escape button once. Once you hit the escape button, it's going to get rid of that third digit there. All you guys got to do is hit the plus key. Once you hit the plus key, change it to 425. So that last number will be a 5. Hit the OK button. Once you hit the OK button, it's going to advance you to a temperature reading. Now, guys and gals, decide what systems you're working with. You could be working with the cast iron rads, like we showed some examples there on the cast iron rads. You can run them down below 150 degrees. Steel panel radiators, you can run them down below 140, 130 degrees. Remember, the colder return temperature, the more latent heat we absorb from the flue gas, allowing it to reach its dew point. Very important. Air handlers, depending on the specification of the air handler and their design of their air handler and how much CFMs they need to deliver to satisfy a certain BTUs, you need to supply them. If we have baseboard systems, let's get away from the old, hey, 180 degree systems, 180 degree temperature for baseboard systems. No, that is not true. Remember, the whole point of this training here we're going to go over is setting our system to its peak efficiency. So stay below 160 degrees, on baseboard systems. A lot of these new manufacturers of baseboards give you lower curves. Okay, really nice slide here. Shows you what your diameters for different boilers. You can see your 85 to 150C, which would be our step 1 version, and then our FTVN, all sizes are inch and a quarter. Just telling you guys and gals what size pipes off the bottom here, and some of the different components that are needed to make, once again, some of the components here that I show you in this slide are here to make that system more efficient. We have a little magnetic action going on down here. We got proper air elimination. You can notice this right here. You got a little micron filter here. It's the way to go. Protect the system. All right. So as I said before, each boiler comes set at a 1.3 curve. You can see on the right-hand side here, our 1.3, which is outlined here in red. That's going to be our curve. So let's say, for instance, the outdoor temperature is, let's say, 5 degrees. We're going to go up to the 5 degrees here, and we're going to go up to our curve. I'm going to cross over here. So that's approximately 165, 170 degrees. So let's adjust this curve down. Let's turn this down. Let's adjust that down to maybe our maximum temperature, 150 degrees right here. Let's go to 150 degrees. Let's allow that boiler to condense a little more. If you have like steel panel radiators, I'd be throwing the system down to 140 and try to adjust that curve, try to adjust that temperature down. So keep in mind, whatever you set that curve for. Now, you can also set the outdoor reset curve. You can adjust the outdoor reset curve through 2 ways. You can go into the menu option, okay, and you can change that curve. Now, you can also do it through the computer, which I do. I change it from time to time. I'll mess around with my boiler, and I'll try, I tried to adjust it down to a 1.0, and it was all right. It didn't get so hot upstairs as it's been getting, but you can adjust it. You can really play with the curve either through the display or through the Wi-Fi, the contractor interface. So 425 is what we're going to set our high temperature. So that's going to be our high end of the curve. And when I mean our high end of the curve, so if it's set at 179 degrees and it's set at 90 degrees on its low end, it will modulate between 179 degrees and 90 degrees depending on the outdoor temperature. Because if it's 30 degrees outside, you don't need 179 degrees. You may only be getting 140, 150 degrees. And that's where you need to reference to your curves. So as I said before, my system's set for 150 degrees. So I have mine set for 150 degrees. So all I did was go into 425, and I used the plus and minus key here to pick your desired temperature. Once you pick the temperature, hit OK. Remember, anytime you make a change to this display, you must accept the change you made by hitting the OK button, which is down here. Remember, our technical menu. That's where all the changes will happen. Now, you did see on the first slide, I said right in the bottom caption, this must be done by a trained technician. You don't want to have homeowners in there changing parameters. Listen, you don't want them changing parameters. So let's try to keep them away from that. So all you're going to do is, once you see 425 on this, you're going to hit escape. Then you're not going to go all the way back. Remember, we're only changing that third number. So now we just set 425. We set it for 150 degrees. Now we're going to go into 426. We're going to hit OK. Once we do that, we're going to set that for our desired temperature. So I decided to set mine for 80 degrees. So I used the plus and minus key here to scroll down, hit it for 80, set it for 80 degrees, and hit the OK button. Now, once you're at this point, you're going to hit the escape button, and you're going to go back 2 numbers. I want you to go back to where you just see a 4 blink, steady, not blinking. Your second number, you're going to use this plus key right here. Your second number needs to be a 7, all right? Once you get the 7 displayed on the screen, I want you to hit the OK button and then advance to 5. It should automatically be displayed on the screen for you. It should say 475. Now, once you see 475, I want you to hit the OK button. You're going to have 2 options here. It's going to be set for 0. Now, what we're going to go over here is what we call our auto boost. Now, with the outdoor reset curve, there's going to be sometimes shoulder times of the year where it may get, you may have to have the outdoor auto boost come into play to help get a steady temperature across the system. So what we want to do is, if you want to turn this on, which I recommend you turn it on, it's going to help you on them the shoulder times of the colder times of the year. It's going to help you to increase the firing rate. Now, the way it works is it increases the firing rate 10% every 10 minutes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the plus key. We're going to take it to option number 1. We're going to hit the OK button. Now, we've just locked it into our auto boost, which there will lock it into our auto boost function. As I said before, we'll increase the firing rate 10% every 10 minutes. Now, the cool thing about this is, as the system starts to come back and it sees the temperature difference between supply and return, it's going to shut down. Now, that heat will be left in the heat exchanger. Now, if another zone comes on, it will feel that zone. It will take that heat from the boiler that's already there and just dump it into the system and just start over again. So never know that the outdoor reset's hooked up. Always recommend you hook up your outdoor resets. There's some really nice features in this boiler. The auto boost function, a great feature. It's going to help you, and it's going to make your home system more efficient.
So Jason,
Yes.
so auto boost, so that's for when people's thermostats won't get hot fast enough. So that would be kind of like your any contractor callback mode, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you
But-
go. Like high on the circulator.
But like on a rating system where you're going to have a call for almost 20 of the 24 hours, you don't necessarily want to turn on the auto boost because you want it to modulate there, right?
No, we're talking more about the baseboard systems where people are, and when I say auto boost, and you guys and gals will know the systems where you're going to go into where they had a nice cast iron boiler sitting in their basement for 20 years, just giving off 180 degrees all the time. They never thought about outdoor reset. It was always nice and warm. Damn, I remember driving down in certain areas. They had to turn the heat on in September for the rental properties, and you see the upstairs windows are all wide open because they just cranked the heat up. You know, we just dump all that heat. That's just wasted energy. We got to get away from that. We got to use these features built into the boiler, like right here, high temperature system. We use this as we help us.
So now we know that most people set their curves too high. So this will also do the converse too, just like it did in your house, where it actually set the temperature back every 10 minutes. It shifts it down 1%, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, but it still keeps it within that minimum maximum that you set, right?
Oh yeah. Wherever you set 425 and 426, it's always going to modulate between there. So, you know, whatever that's set for, that is its reference point. So it's always going to reference to that. Now keep in mind that's its firing rate. It's going to get, if you have it set for 160, it's going to get to 160. If it's not satisfying, it's going to increase the boost until it gets there, and it's going to keep doing that and constantly run. Remember, these systems don't need all this BTUs. You know, you don't need to be at 180 degrees. And I'm gonna let you all know it only goes to 179, so that's all you got. So it is what it is. Boiler goes to 179. Can't change that. So once we're done with that, all you guys got to do, guys and gals, have to just hit the escape button right here and go all the way back until you get to the home screen, which you'll have your little Wi-Fi, your little house for your outdoor reset, and then your temperature. Now, I want everybody to know, if your outdoor reset's not hooked up, this outdoor little house will blink and it will tell you that the outdoor reset's not hooked up.
Oh, the outdoor sensor, you mean?
Yes. The
Okay.
sensor. Yes, sir.
Or the Wi-Fi weather, right?
Well, no. Now, keep in mind, if the Wi-Fi weather is hooked up, the Wi-Fi signal will blink if it's not hooked up. But if the Wi-Fi weather is hooked up, the outdoor reset symbol, the sensor symbol for the house, will still blink.
Okay. But if I have the Wi-Fi weather turned on and an outdoor sensor on it, what happens?
They'll both be steady. They'll both be steady.
Okay.
Yep.
Just clarifying for those in the audience.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
One or the other.
Here we go. Poll
But
question.
doesn't a outdoor sensor, if you hook up an outdoor sensor and Wi-Fi, doesn't the outdoor sensor override the Wi-Fi?
No.
No, you get an error message.
No. The Wi-Fi always has precedence. The outdoor sensor is a backup to the Wi-Fi.
That must be new because that's not what Jason Thompson told me. But good. All right. So here comes the poll. I'm going to launch the poll question. You ready, Ted?
I'm ready. What type of cell phone do you have? Well, there you go. There's a good heating question. What type of cell phone do you have?
I wanted to see
An Apple, a
percent.
Google, a Samsung?
Wait a minute, where's flip phone? I don't see flip phone.
Where's the
You can't,
Android?
you can't have a flip phone anymore. It's 3G's gone, my man. Boom, boom. 3G's gone.
Apple, Google, Samsung. It seems like we've left out some significant choice here, but okay.
Well, I'm only picking the ones I know about.
He lives in a very confined world, Ted.
I don't use Samsung. I use that Apple shit.
So Ted, how's the questions coming in? I only see 65% of people have replied.
65% have voted. We're at 50 seconds into the poll. We're going to give them another 20 seconds or so and see if we rake it anymore.
Yep, I have been, I've been asked about Blackberries, and I was told that they do make flip phones in 4G. There we go.
Do they? Do they really? But you better tell my father-in-law. He was all bummed out.
They're very common. They're very common in certain areas.
Hey, they took Blackberries away, didn't they? They're gone, Blackberries.
I think we're good here. We're into this. We've got 68% have responded, and basically 2/3 use an Apple and 1/3 use a Samsung, and Google gets a big fat zip.
Zip, zilch.
Well, that's always good when Google gets the old flying finger of fate. Cool. Yep. So we'll close that.
2/3 Apple, 1/3 Samsung, and nothing to Google.
Nothing to Google.
Close that poll. Close that poll.
I closed the poll. Yep, I closed the poll.
All right. So the cool thing about having the new technology we have, guys and gals, is now we can access the boiler remotely with either a tablet, a phone, or a computer. All right. Now, everything we just went over before, went over 228 parameter, which is going to be an indirect using a sensor or an aquastat. Okay. So 228. If we're using aquastat, if we're using the sensor, it's option number 1. Aquastat, option number 2. We went over 420, which is your low and high temperature set point. Every boiler comes set for a high temperature, 179 degrees. Parameter 425, which is a high end of our curve, which is going to be our set point for our modulation for our outdoor reset to modulate from high to low temperature. So 425 is going to be set for whatever our system's designed for. 160 degrees, 150 degrees, depending what it's designed for. And what option you chose on the last option, 420. If you chose low temperature, your temperature range will be lower, below 130. If we chose option number 1, it's going to be high temperature. And then 426, which is going to be our low end of the curve. So if we chose a low end, low temperature, we'll shift that down to a lower temperature. If it's a high temperature, we'll shift it up to 95 to 80 to 90 degrees. So we'll shift the temperature up a little bit. But the same things we went over earlier, which we went through how to use it on the display, how to use the technical access point, how to get in there, how to navigate through it. You can do the same thing on the computer. Let's take a look at that. All right, you can go and set your domestic functions. You can, set that domestic function for temperature for whatever you want. All right. You can even go in and set the 228 parameter. You can go in and set the 420 or the 4.
Okay, so let's just pause for a second here, Jason, because this actually makes something you've been chattering on about a lot clearer to people. All those 3-digit numbers, the 420, the 425, the 428, the 369, whatever, they all correspond to a setting that the boiler can be adjusted to. Now, understand that there's probably 50 or 60 different settings, but you really only probably play with, in practice, 4 or 5 of them ever.
Yeah, I think
unless you have a very special application. So, I mean, there's a lot you can adjust. There's not very much you need to adjust.
Yeah, there's like 860 something.
So, but all those numbers, all those 3-digit numbers, they all correspond to a particular setting on the boiler, which become much more obvious when you're looking at it on a computer or a tablet.
Let's take a look at this. That's why I wanted to show everybody this. If you look at this screen, you can see 420 right here where my pointer is, and this arrow right here. 420 is high temperature. So when you guys and gals hit option number 1, Boom, it locks it in high temperature. Now, it's telling you, if you look down here, 425, this is my screen, this is my computer. It's telling you my maximum temperature is 145 degrees on 425. 426 is 86 degrees. Now, my boiler's modulating between 145 degrees and 86 degrees. That's 425 and 426 right there showing you. Okay, if you look right down, if you go scroll all the way down into 475, you will see option 1 will be turned on. I have mine turned on, so sometimes it may push the 145 limit. But it's so simple. And same thing you're doing in those parameters as Ted outlined earlier. It's the same thing you see here. It's so simple. And guys and gals, it's easy and it's free. That's the thing. You can get on and just, check your system, mess with the curve a little bit, adjust the curve, see what's going on. You see the curve adjustment here? See right here where this red arrow is? See the 422? That's your curve adjustment. You can adjust that up and down right there, right from the screen. You can do all that right there. And it gives you lockouts. It tells you when there's a problem. So if there's an error, if you mess with the outdoor, I messed with my outdoor sensor. Look, it told me there was an error. So, and it resolved it because I changed the setting. So, and also Steve kind of shot it out earlier, but keep in mind, if you guys and gals have any problems, reach out to us. Like I said, call Ted and Steve. If you're going to call me, just tell them you're waking up.
Yeah, if it's early in the morning, call Jason for sure.
No. And then tech support number right there, options, just and also, I know you guys are busy, guys and gals are busy out there. We all did it, Steve, Ted and I, all were contractors. So we know how it is, but hey, give the tech support guys a little, chance to get back to you. They're swamped with calls. And if they get swamped and there's a guy out, let them get back to you. And we want you to call in too. And here's something that's very important moving forward. We want you to call in because if you call in, the call gets documented in case there's a problem in the future. Then Ted and Steve, and you guys can chime in here, Ted and Steve. I know you guys use that Salesforce to look up that stuff when problems going on. And that's what I'm saying. If they document it, tech support documents it, Steve and Ted can review it then. All right.
Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like to check out more videos, see the link below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the future updates. And also check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.